Hi everyone. Despite not being a huge fiction or mythology reader, I've been shipping at the Iliad by Homer for months. About halfway through the book, something clicked, and this ended up being a wildly satisfying read. I've become increasingly interested in reading all the books featured in the Great Books of the Western World, which begins with the Iliad. This is the oldest known book in Western literature, some 2,800 years old. It chiefly recounts the feud between Achilles and Hector during the Trojan War, with all sorts of craziness added, from the dozens of gruesome deaths which immediately reminded me of Mortal Kombat fatalities, to the Greek gods themselves constantly intervening in the war and fighting. What blew me away was how so many dimensions of the human experience, chiefly anger, loyalty, and justice, were explored and still feel so relevant and relatable. All the modern entertainment I'm into, like Dragon Ball and Final Fantasy, feels like it began here. Also, it was stunning how evocative and refined the prose is. I found this very challenging at the beginning, but enjoyed it more and more until reaching the end, which had me in tremendous suspense. By the end of the book, I felt like I had a connection with many of the characters. Last year, I attempted to read 2024's well-reviewed Emily Wilson translation without any preparation, not even exercising the patience to read the full introduction, and was immediately overwhelmed. I asked a librarian how to approach the Iliad, and she recommended the 1990 Robert Fagles translation. I also found a video of Professor Fred Sanders, who recommended taking a note of each page you read, which I did for about the first third of the book before becoming comfortable just reading it straight. Possibly existing in oral form for many decades before being written down, it was composed among the ancient Greeks who were already familiar with all the context, characters, and history. If you come at it as a modern Westerner with only a vague familiarity of the classical world, you're going to easily feel overwhelmed, but don't let that stop you. All you have to do is keep Achilles, Hector, and Zeus in focus, while doing your best to keep up with the dozens of other characters, and it will eventually all come together. Reading the Iliad for the first time is comparable to being in a tornado. You can hardly tell all that's going on, but just the quality and refinement of the writing is enough to make it worthwhile. Occasionally, you'll feel the sense of rhythm which the poem attempts to establish, and will get even more into it. After reading, I'd recommend looking up a summary where many of the character arcs and disjointed subplots you struggle to understand will suddenly make sense. I'm not the biggest fiction reader, but when a piece of literature makes an impact upon society, I feel like it transcends fictional, non-fictional boundaries and becomes essential for anyone. The undeniable quality within the Iliad was totally worth the time and effort. I can see myself reading another translation within a few years and enjoying the experience even more. But before that, I'll certainly be reading the follow-up, The Odyssey. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with more.